Here we are, all stuck inside in a quarantine. I haven't put on pants in 3 days. And Netflix is like, listen, fam, we got you covered. We're going to release Tiger King. What's up, dudes? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name's Adam Murray. I'm a comic. Well, I mean, there are no comedy clubs at all right now, but I was, before COVID-19, a touring comedian and an actor, and sometimes a Lyft and Uber driver. None of those things still exist today. We shall see. Hopefully it goes back to normal sometime. But at any rate, sitting at home, looking for something to entertain myself, and what do I find but Tiger King on Netflix? Listen, if you haven't started this thing, it is the roller coaster ride you've needed for your quarantine. I promise you. It's insane. And just when you think, this can't get any crazier, it kicks it up like 10 notches. It has more twists and turns than anything I've ever seen. It's insane. It starts out, you meet this guy named Joe Exotic. He's in Oklahoma, and he's got a bunch of big cats. And you're like, okay, that's pretty weird. By the way, there's going to be some spoilers. Sorry about that. You find out he just likes to walk around with guns and shoot them willy-nilly all over his, 40 or 50 some acres. Just randomly. They got a video of him just randomly shooting a shotgun out into the just vast wilderness. He loves to walk around his park and just put explosives out and shoot it so it explodes. He just blows up random stuff. It's ridiculous. Then you find he's not the only giant pet holding guy. When they first show Joe, you're like, this guy, I don't think should be having cats. He just seems weird and dangerous. And then you meet Carole, who is at Big Cat Rescue down in Tampa, and she's like, listen, I fight for the cats. This guy is using the cats to make money, and he's exploiting these creatures, and how dare he? We need to take him away from him. And you're like, all right, we're on Carole's side. Yeah, forget Joe. And then you find out, they're like, well, wait a minute. Carole is using the cats for money. And Carole's not even paying her employees at all. And she's like, why would I pay him? People volunteer. Free workforce. And then you find out Carole's husband disappeared. And Joe's like, listen, she fed that dude to the tigers. There's no way around it. He's like, I got tigers. I got a ton of them. And they're, when they digest something, they digest the bones too. Nothing comes out. And you're like, whoa. And then you find out, not only did her husband disappear, but she broke into his office, stole his will, and rewrote it so that she gets everything. Carole killed her damn husband. That's what happened. Carole killed her husband and fed that dude to some tigers. I'm 90% certain of it. It's crazy. Joe puts out all these crazy videos about how he wants to kill Carole. And so Carole sues him. Carole sues him and wins a judgment for $1 million. $1 million against this guy. And of course he doesn't have it, but she tries to collect. She legitimately goes after him, and he loses all his money. His parents lose all their money because she sues everyone. She sues everyone who's even remotely attached to this. She just wants to destroy these people. By the way, there's also another guy in North Carolina or something that has a bunch of cats, but then he's got 9 wives. The one thing that seems to be Joe has 3 husbands. I don't know if I mentioned that. He's married to 3 different people. Or no, he's married to 2 different people. There's 3 of them all together. And the other 2 guys are straight, but they like meth. And Joe's like, I got a lot of meth and I got tigers. Get on it. It's crazy. This other guy who's in like North Carolina or something. He's got like 9 wives or something like that. And apparently they're all attracted to the tigers. Or he's got the tigers and he's like, do you want to pet a baby tiger? Well, you better do it naked. The one thing that like all these people seem to do is they get these people to rely on them. They provide them a place to live and food, but pay them almost nothing. They get paid like $100 a week to work 16-hour days at these, tiger facilities. And so they're dependent upon these people. And it's like there's no way for these people to leave. Because where else would they go? So Joe's bankrupt, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. And he ends up partnering with this guy who supposedly has a mansion and a Ferrari and all his name's like John, I want to say. This guy comes in and he's like, I'm gonna be your savior. I'm gonna invest in the zoo. And his lawyers tell him what he needs to do is put the zoo in this other guy's name, so the lawsuit has to start all over again. They can't collect the zoo. So they do that, and the guy ends up stealing the zoo from Joe. Like, Joe loses the zoo because he put it in this guy's name, and this other guy's like, now I got your zoo. I don't need you anymore. It's crazy. So Joe ends up having to work at the zoo. The new guy, John or whatever his name is, takes tigers back to Las Vegas, and he tries to like do cub petting, which is where they take like baby tigers and people pet them because they're so small they can't be dangerous, on buses, like party buses, going back and forth to Vegas. And then the very next frame they're like, yeah, that was a bad idea. That was such a bad idea. Oh yeah, huge spoiler. If you haven't seen it, don't watch this. Huge spoiler. One of Joe's husbands kills himself on camera, like on security camera. You don't see it. You see the other guy. He's talking to the dude playing around with his handgun, and the guy's like, you should totally not play with the hand. Like, the guy points the handgun at someone, and the dude's like, dude, don't point a gun at me. And he's like, man, Rugers don't fire when they got the magazine out. See, I got the magazine out. See, I'll show you. And goes, and like blows his head off. I don't know if it was suicide or it was just dumb or just on meth or on meth and dumb, but yeah, blows his head off. And they go to a funeral, right? And at the funeral with this dude's like parents, Joe starts talking about how great his nuts are. He's like, oh, they were like my favorite peach. I loved them. They were amazing. So tucked up and tight. He's talking about the dude's balls at a funeral with his parents there. And that's not even like a main plot point. This thing is so crazy. Like, here's where it gets dicey. Joe, the entire time, has been saying how much he hates Carole. And how much he wants to kill Carole. And this, that, and the other. But it doesn't seem like he would ever do it. Joe goes out of town once, which throughout the entire story, it doesn't seem like he ever goes out of town. And then randomly he goes out of town, and the whole studio blows up, and it kills alligators that were in the alligator, like a massive explosion. Like, he's been blowing stuff up on his property the whole time. Like, the whole time. He's been playing with explosives the whole time. And someone else blew it up, supposedly, the one time he goes out of town. Come on, Joe. We all know you blew up the thing. Yeah, I guess the guy that was making the documentary and his web series or whatever was like, I own all this. He's like, see these documents you signed? That says I own it all. They were also like trying to subpoena his videos and stuff to try to use it against him because of the whole Carole case thing. And the next thing you know, it's blown up. And there's nothing left. Coincidence? Joe is constantly saying how much he wants to kill Carole. And then he decides, like, they start actually plotting it. Apparently not Joe, but the John guy. And by the way, the John guy comes in and he's like, everyone in here is a felon. I'm going to bring in my own help. So he brings in a guy with a teardrop tattoo who served time in prison. You don't like this guy's felons, so you're going to bring in your own felons? What sense does that even make? The guy with the teardrop tattoo hates Joe, and he's talking about, we're out there, cutting down trees, and I'm thinking, I might just drop my chainsaw on him. Accidents happen, Like, he's plotting to kill Joe. Somehow, no charges come up for this guy. They say that Joe gave him money to go kill Carole. And it seems like Joe admits to giving him the money, but he says that John told him to. And it was supposed to be for something else because he wouldn't work on the farm or whatever. It seems like he might have been set up, but maybe he did give him money to go kill Carole. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't seem right that Joe's the only one in jail and everyone else is free. All these people should be locked up. Watch the thing. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's absolutely insane. By the way, if you finished all of Tiger King and you're thinking, man, this can't get any crazier, I'll have you know, Joe Exotic has a YouTube channel. And on it, he's got all of his music videos. He's got stuff like documentaries about himself. He's all those weird webisodes that they were showing clips of. There's a bunch of those on there. He's also got things like videos of animals having sex, but he put porn music to it. So it's like tigers going at it, and it's like bow chicka wow 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 wow. It's insane. Check some of that stuff out. And he's got the here kitty. The music video where it's he's got the fake Carole feeding her dead husband to the cats and he's singing. Yeah, he's got that. Crazy. Alright, anyway, hope you guys like that. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Love it.